Right, let's start with the Men's West Challenge Cup. Drama from the get-go, apparently, in the preliminary round.
Oh yeah, what's really interesting here is Sima. They're from San Fernando Saba. Now they faced Julga 6 from Kirulia, and Julga 6 are actually the current Development Cup champions. So, tough draw.
Okay.
Sima lost that first match, but then they bounced back, won the second, and forced penalties.
Yeah.
It really shows resilience, doesn't it? Staying composed under that kind of pressure.
Totally. And they actually won the shootout.
They did. Confirmed their qualification 3-2 on penalties. What a way to start their campaign.
Wow. Talk about setting a tone.
Exactly. And that ability, to recover and win like that, it's crucial in these two-legged qualifiers. Momentum can shift so fast, and one shootout can just change everything for a team.
So did that momentum help them in the next round, Q1?
It seems like it. They faced Sport Canton Rubro from Cantalupa, and, well, it was less challenging for them this time. They advanced pretty comfortably into the final qualifying round, Q2. Which then brings up that classic question, right? How far can momentum actually push a team? Because in Q2, Sima even managed to beat Regina, the favorites from NFA, in the first leg. 1-2 the score there.
No way! So the fairy tale was on?
It looked like it.
Yeah.
But their journey ended in the second leg, a pretty decisive 3-0 loss. So close, but Regina went through.
That's tough. So while Sima had this, almost epic run, you mentioned another team from San Fernando Saba, Rio Mayer. How did they do?
Yeah, a completely different story for them. Unfortunately, they really struggled. Lost both of their games against Jesco, who were from NFA. Scores were 3-1 and 3-0.
Ouch. Conceding 3 in both games.
Exactly. And what really stood out there was an individual performance, Marian Dalmeida, for Jesco. He actually scored a hat-trick in one of those games. Just a brilliant showing.
Right. Okay, so elsewhere in Q1, any other big stories?
Well, Heraldiano from Islas Marbel certainly lived up to their billing as favorites. They played Barchai Chentkil from Jayalothat and pretty much dominated. Won both matches easily, 3-1 and then 5-0. Very convincing.
So they look strong. Did they face a tougher test in Q2?
You'd think so. They were up against Jake from Covenabaram, expected to be a challenge. But again, Heraldiano just seemed to level above. Won both legs comfortably 0-3 away, then 1-4 at home. They qualified without much fuss, really, showed some serious depth and tactical strength. They look like a team to watch.
So that's one Islas Marbel team through. You mentioned Cedros earlier, also from Islas Marbel, also favorites.
That's right, Cedros. They faced Jesco in Q2, the team that knocked out Rio Mayer.
Ah, okay. Interesting matchup.
And Jesco actually managed to hold them in the first leg, a 0-0 draw.
Really? Okay, maybe an upset brewing.
Well, not quite. The second leg, Cedros just showed their quality, won it 4-1. Secure their qualification. So yeah, that made it 2 for 2 from Islas Marbel qualifying Cedros and Heraldiano. Strong showing.
Got it. Any other Q1 results to touch on?
Yes. TS91 from Covenabaram. They had a much tighter battle than expected against Puig Utax from Jayalaw Battle. Scores were 0-1 and 2-2, so pretty close. But the source says TS91 did make it through in the end.
Okay, so they squeezed through, and then...
And then came the really thrilling part for them. They faced Alianza Yakat from Canalipa in Q2. 2 incredibly tense games. Scores were 1-3, then 2-0 the other way, level on aggregate.
Penalties again?
Penalties again. And this time it was Alianza Yakat who came out on top. Won the shootout 6-5.
Wow, 6-5 on penalties. That is absolutely down to the wire. Incredible drama. 2, West Challenge Cup Women's Qualifiers. Defining moments. Okay, let's shift gears over to the women's qualifiers. A bit simpler here, just one qualifying round.
That's right, just a one round, 4 teams advancing. And we saw another really tight contest ending in penalties. El Crucero from San Fernando Saba against Barrio do Porto from Cantalupa.
Oh, tell me.
Yep, penalties. El Crucero edged it, 3-2. Seems to be a theme.
Seriously. Okay, what else happened? Any upsets?
Well, almost. America de Alara, another team from San Fernando Saba, they had an amazing result in their first match. They actually beat Estrella de Lakota, the favorites, from Islas Marbel 0-2 away from home. Huge result.
Whoa, so they were on track.
Looked like it. But the dream ended pretty sharply in the second leg. Lost 3-0 at home, so Estrella de Lakota turned it around and went through.
Heartbreak for America de Alara then. Any other close ones?
Definitely. KG Mayu from Crivinabaram advanced past FC Santa Edwidge from NFA.
Yeah.
But only just. It was a 1-goal difference over the 2 legs. The scores were 0-1 and then 1-1. Just shows again, doesn't it? Every single goal is absolutely massive in these ties.
For sure. So NFA almost had 2 teams out then, with Regina getting through in the men's, FC Santa Edwidge losing here.
Well, FC Santa Edwidge didn't make it, but NFA did get 1 team qualified in the women's draw. Shangri-La. They managed to get past Central Antofagasta from Cantaloupa. Scores were 0-2 and 2-2.
Okay.
And actually, that brings up an interesting point about Cantaloupa. Looking across the women's qualifiers, they were the only country to lose both their teams. Barra del Porto and Central Antofagasta both knocked out.
Yeah, that's notable. Something to maybe keep an eye on regionally. 3, West Development Cup men's qualifiers, early exits and strong starts. Right, and finally, let's just quickly touch on the West Development Cup. Only men's qualifiers here, you said. Women's teams all set.
Correct. All the women's spots were already decided, so just men's qualifiers needed. And Marmaduke J unit from Prince Elephant Island looked really good. They beat Aria from Karulia both games, 0-1 away and then 2-3 at home. Pretty dominant performance.
Okay, strong start for them. What about the other team from Prince Elephant Island? Big River.
Less good news there. They were actually knocked out. Lost both legs to Pride FC from Black Cherry Island. Scores were 0-2 and 1-2. So yeah, a real contrast in fortunes to the two teams from Prince Elephant Island.